Hey, David Brewster here with New Brewster's Millions of Rants, and this is New Guitar Day 2025, and I just played my new guitar, which I am going to feature that again later in this episode. It just arrived today. I'm literally stoked and excited and trying to contain myself, here on camera. I don't want to nerd out, right in front of everybody. But I decided to basically showcase all of my electric guitars in this episode, starting with my Strat. This is actually, I featured this once before. This is a 1996 Fender Floyd Rose Classic American Stratocaster that I bought brand new in 1996. It originally had a maple neck, Floyd Rose, DiMarzio, a couple Fender, single coil pickups. I still have the neck. I think I flashed that before on camera. But then over the years, that was 29 years ago when I technically bought, at least part of this guitar. And I've replaced, the neck, I've changed the tuners, the pickups, the pick guard, the electronics. I've changed a lot of things, kind of modifying this guitar. But yes, originally this did have a Floyd Rose. And then over the years, I started to modify it more into kind of the regular Strat. And that's basically what I just recently purchased, was the new, American Professional 2 Stratocaster. So I wanted to compare, like, the new version of what they're producing to my kind of Frankenstrat right here. So I actually dug out some old photos of me playing this guitar when it was brand new and it still had the maple neck, the Floyd, the DiMarzio, the cream pickguard or whatever. And this was right after I got the guitar. I was so excited. And then also notice in the right-hand photo, you can see my old ADA 212 cabinets, my old Ibanez 570 in jewel blue, a Hughes & Kettner Attax 200 head, my old rig. But check this out. And if you've been watching my channel, you know what this guitar sounds like. I've featured my Strat a lot, and I'm going to use the same patch and the same tone for all my guitars, but here's my 1996, Frankenstrat. I've had so many people ask, actually this was a pre-wired pickguard from Fender. It has a Shawbucker and two Fender noiseless. I think it's like Gen 3, noiseless with a Shawbucker. It had like the pre-wired, electronics and everything. I think I got that from Sweetwater. That was a great, upgrade, for this guitar. And that's basically my 96 Strat. And I am going through my guitars in order. So up next is my year 2000 Gibson Les Paul Standard, which I bought brand new when I was teaching at More Music in Evansville, Indiana, when they were still on Morgan Avenue. And this guitar came in their shipment. I came in that day to teach, and they were like, "Brewster, you got to check out this guitar." They opened the case in the back room, and I heard angels singing, and I heard licks from Blow by Blow and Wired in my head. I love Jeff Beck. And to my eyes, it was the Blow by Blow Les Paul. I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't actually realize that Jeff's was oxblood or whatever. To my eyes, it just looked kind of black. But I love this guitar. Tuxedo Les Paul, fat neck, super heavy. I've got a JB humbucker and Pearly Gates, Seymour Duncan pickups. I bought the pre-wired Emerson, electronics upgrade. It also has Gibson locking tuners, which I added to this guitar. But then pretty much everything else is stock. Killer guitar, super heavy, fat neck, killer tone, a rock and roll machine, really. Les Pauls kick ass. And just a heads up, this guitar was actually featured in Premier Guitar Magazine. That would have been the February 2013 issue with my article, I Lost a Fight with an Elevator. And if you're confused, or if you have this issue, grab it and read it, and you can kind of read the story. But this guitar actually has, a history and a story, and it was featured in the pages of Premier Guitar. So up next is my Paul Reed Smith, and I bought this in 2020, and it was at the end of the year in December, which I'm sure everybody remembers. 2020 was a nightmare year. And I kind of bought this as like a reward, like, wow, I made it through this crazy year. I think I'm going to grab this guitar. And at the time, this was the cheapest Paul Reed Smith that was American made that they sold. But that's not why I bought this. I bought it because photos of this guitar online just grabbed me. I was like, man, I love the way that guitar looks. And I tried to track one down to play one, but I couldn't find this exact model. But I did find one of the semi-hollow S2 Velas with the F-hole and stuff. And I played that in a store, and I really liked it. And it was a little bit lighter. And this is a very light guitar, too. It is, made of solid mahogany. But when I played that semi-hollow version, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then when this arrived, I was blown away. And this is a great guitar, very comfortable. You can do almost anything on here. It does have a Seymour Duncan JB humbucker, which I installed. I also installed the upgraded electronics. I think that was an Emerson kit with upgraded electronics for this. And I kept the stock, Paul Reed Smith kind of funky neck pickup. I think that's kind of like a de-Armand thing. I'm not sure what they were emulating there. But this guitar kicks ass. Yeah, it's a killer guitar, great sound, and I love this funky neck pickup too. It's got a really interesting character that's different than all my other guitars, so that's why I left that in there, because I was like, man, I'm kind of digging that. I can't remember what the model is or whatever, but that's a cool pickup, and this is definitely a kick-ass guitar. Up next is my year 2022 Fender American Performer Telecaster, and I've definitely featured this a lot on camera too since I've had it. And honestly, I've worked in 2 active performing country bands over the years, and I used a Strat with both those bands. I don't know why I waited so long to get a Tele, but honestly, Telecasters aren't exclusively country. You can find them in jazz and blues and rock, and I mean, think Keith Richards, Jeff Beck, and a whole bunch of people have used Teles. Richie Kotzen, a whole bunch of players. But this is a killer guitar. I love it. And I grab it all the time. It's like super dirty right now. But a cool guitar, and I'm honestly not sure why I waited so long to add a Tele to my guitar family. This was long overdue, and definitely I love this guitar. Just there's something about that bitey single coil tone. I love it. There's just something about that snappy single coil action. It's really, really cool. I love this guitar. Okay, next up is this 2024 D'Angelico Premier Mini DC, which I picked up at the end of last year. And honestly, this guitar filled a void that I had in my studio because I basically wanted a jazzy, bluesy, semi-hollow body, right? And, 335s and Lucille and some of those guitars, they're wonderful guitars, but they're huge. It's like hugging a tree, it's like, oh my gosh. And I know Gibson makes like a 339, which is a smaller size, and I've played a few of those over the years, but they're so expensive. I can't afford that. I can't afford $3,000 on one guitar. So this was kind of a cheaper option, I guess. And I did play some D'Angelicos at a Summer NAMM, several years ago. That was down in Nashville. I think that was before, the lockdown and COVID. But I really liked the guitars. They played really great. There's actually D'Angelicos on a few of the books that I have published. Like on the cover, they use, D'Angelico. So I was familiar with the brand, and then the more I thought about it, I just kind of jumped on it. I was like, you know what, that looks kind of like Lucille. Cool guitar. I mean, for what I paid for this and what it is, this thing rocks. Now, if you have a lot of money laying around, then maybe you actually want to get like a real D'Angelico or a high-end Gibson or whatever. I can't afford that stuff, so this definitely kind of fit the bill. And definitely it growls. Like, this isn't just a jazzy, bluesy BB King, Joe Pass machine. You can do all kinds of stuff on this guitar. I'm currently kind of working out some Ted Nugent stuff and trying to figure out, like, how do I get the feedback going with this? Because it's just a cool vibe and a cool guitar. Now the pickups, in my opinion, they are really bassy and almost kind of muffly, and I haven't changed anything on this guitar. I think I will sooner or later, swap out the pickups for something, maybe Gibson something, or I'm not really sure what I'm going to put in this, but I haven't changed anything with this yet. I'm probably going to keep everything pretty much stock, except I may change those pickups at some point. There's nothing wrong with them. They just have a little bit of extra woof, though. And I am kind of curious to compare this guitar to the sound of the other ones, because I always wonder, like, is it just my ear, or is it really more bassy and woofy? And everything just has a little different feel, a different ring to it, and this is also a very comfortable guitar. So if you're looking for something like this, I highly recommend these D'Angelicos. They're great. And last but not least, here's my new guitar, a 2025 Fender American Professional 2 Stratocaster in Olympic White with the HSS, humbucker and 2 singles. And I basically bought this because it's a new version of what I've slowly transformed my old 96 Strat, like my Franken Strat. This is kind of what I've tried to make that, my other Strat into. And that interested me, where I was like, yeah, I want to know, what does the new Fender look and feel and sound like? And I mean, I literally just opened the FedEx box and tuned it and did the opening jam, went through my guitars. Now I'm returning to this guitar. I haven't taken the stickers off. Hell, still got the tags and stuff on it. But this is really, really cool. I can already tell, like, the neck is amazing. I can tell it's like, man, that's a really comfortable neck. You got that kind of access way up here where I can get really high on the fretboard. You've also got a coil tap on that bridge pickup. That way you can kind of almost get like a single coil out of your bridge. Really, really cool guitar. Great tones already. Like, I've just spent like literally minutes with this guitar and it's just kicking my ass. It's great. Taps here. Here's, I think, full humbucker, and then the coil tapped humbucker, and you can hear it brightens up a little bit when you coil tap it. That's really cool. So I haven't changed, obviously, anything on this. I just got it today. I think it still has like Fender 9s, I think is what they ship these with. I'm pretty sure those are 9s. I'm going to change the strings, take all the protective stickers and the tags and stuff off. I didn't even take the bar out of the case, you know what I mean? So this is brand new to my ears, my fingers, and to my studio. And I literally like set up the camera and hit record to try to capture any magic. I don't even know what that chord progression was that I played during the opening jam. I've never played that series of chords before. I think that was just pure new guitar inspiration. What was it? Like C or something? That just came out of me. Like when I grabbed the guitar, that's the first thing I started playing, and I didn't question anything. I was like, all right, that's the new jam for this guitar, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I realized you can't do that every single time you need a spark, or a fire under your butt. But yeah, very inspired and very interested to see, like, yeah, what's this gonna play and sound like with my strings set up the way I like. I've got the Fender like vintage strap on the way, so I have another strap coming for this. I don't even have the strap yet, and I haven't even put the bar in the guitar yet, but I will. And I'm going to feature this a lot. I'm going to kind of share duty, Strat duty with my Frankenstrat too. So I'm definitely stoked. All right, that's going to wrap this episode of Brewster's Millions of Rants with this look at New Guitar Day 2025. Obviously, I'm excited and happy and inspired and just kind of, freaking out. Guitar nerd, day for sure. And I'm going to spend the rest of today kind of playing with my new guitar. I'm going to take the stickers and the tags off and put the bar on. I'm going to change strings and kind of adjust things, because I'm going to go from, 9s to 10s, which I normally use. Dunlop strings, by the way, I've had a lot of people ask. I love Dunlop strings. I love Dunlop and MXR products and pedals and stuff. But yeah, I've been using Dunlop strings for like 10 years, I think, or 10 or 15 years. Great strings, and they're usually cheapest too, where it's like, why would you want to spend 3 times as much when, I mean, they're hard to break. They definitely have great sound and great tone and great feel. Yeah, Dunlop strings are my favorite. But anyway, I'm definitely going to spend the rest of today playing around with my guitar and the other guitars in my studio here. But yeah, I just wanted to share the excitement, share some of the tones and sounds. And anyway, I'll be back as soon as you know it. And who knows which guitar I might be using, but I am going to start using this new, Strat in videos coming up. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Night Lessons, and I'll be back before you know with more content and material. Thank you.